Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi. So the concept that we are doing today is عائد, and it is following the concept of al-ismul mawsul wasilatuhu, and the EMSA term for عائد is relator. Let's move forward. So previously we had observed that al-ismul mawsul and silatul mawsul, they are two components, but they form one unit. They are two separate components. It is one unit. And also one more thing, they are inseparable. Nothing can come between them. Secondly, in order to connect these two components, there has to be something in silatul mawsul that refers to al-ismul mawsul. There has to be something. Now, for example, in silatul mawsul, if it's a jumla fi'liya, the inside file of the fi'l refers to al-ismul mawsul in terms of number and gender. For example, allazi allama, the one who taught. So allama is one and is masculine. Allazi is one and masculine, and that's how they are connecting to each other. That's the connection between them. Allazi allama. Now, what if this, by the way, is very important point. It should always, whatever it is inside us, inside silatul mawsul, should connect in terms of number and gender at least. Okay, but what if that is not the case? And that is where the عائد steps in. Okay, so a few key points about عائد that you really need to drill in your mind. So it's a relator, and the connector which refers to al-ismul mawsul in silatul mawsul, it's called an عائد. So whatever that connector is, it's called the عائد. And that connector, that عائد, is present in silatul mawsul. The sentence, it can be fi'liya, it can be ismiya sentence, but it is present in that sentence only, which is the silatul mawsul. And as I said before, and I'm reiterating it again and again, the number and gender should always match. Okay, and there is no equivalent of عائد in English. So for that matter, we are going to completely disregard it when we are translating it. We are not going to translate it in English, but in Arabic, it has to be there. So, for example, we have got, so عائد can be, there are four types of عائد you can say, and it is attached, it is detached, it's inside, it's implied. All right, four things: attached, detached. These are two opposites. Inside and implied. They are kind of sounding similar, but I'll tell you the subtle difference there is between them. Okay, let's talk about attached eye. Now this is our sentence, and let us unpack this sentence first. Let's see what are the different components in terms of fragment first. So this is al-ismul mawsul. As you can see, allazi is al-ismul mawsul, and allamahu al-ustadu Nu'manu is silatul mawsul. The whole sentence, allamahul ustadu Nu'manu. So the one who taught him, the one who Ustad Noman taught. So as you can see, Ustad Noman is Rafa. So that means it's the inside, it's the outside file of Allama. And who's the maf'ul? Who. Huwa is the maf'ul. Who is the maf'ul? So this sentence will be translated as Ustad Noman taught him. And then when you connect it with Allazi, the one who Ustad Noman taught him, no. The one who Ustad Noman taught. That would be the correct English. We will disregard him in English translation. Now also look that this whole allazi allamahul ustadu Nu'manu, which is al-ismul mawsul wa silatuhu, is actually serving as a sifa to ar-rajulun, which is proper noun, and therefore that is the mawsuf. Now this is something I was going to clarify in this video about fragment and fragment level and sentence level. You see, al-ismul mawsul wa silatuhu is actually part of a fragment. It's part of mawsuf sifa. And this whole thing, mawsuf sifa, is actually the mubtada of this sentence, which means the man who Ustad Noman taught. So the man, Mausuf, and what are you describing about it? Whom Ustad Noman taught. So that's the sifa. And Ustadun is the khabar. Now this whole thing is mubtada. As you can see, please look at the placement of these geometrical shapes. You can see, first of all, al-ismul mawsul wasilatuhu. This whole thing is serving as a sifa to mawsuf, that is ar-rajulin. Ar-rajulun allazi allamahul ustadu nu'manu. The man whom Ustad Numan taught. The whole thing is actually a mubtada. And then Ustadun is the khabar, and fi mahadi qalamin is actually the mutalik bil khabar. How? See, this is the topic. So the man whom Ustad Numan taught is a teacher in the Institute of Qalam. All right. So this is something that you really need to differentiate in your mind, that over here, Ism Mawsul and Silatul Mawsul is actually at play as a fragment component on fragment level. It's not at play on sentence level. Yes, it is part of a sentence, but it's actually subdivided. So a part of sentence, this is an Ismiya sentence, so you can say Mubtada, Khabar, Mutalik bil Khabar. These are part of components of Ismiya sentence. Now, in that Mubtada, when you further divide it into Mawsuf Sifa, that is where Ismul Mawsuf, Al-Ism Mawsuf Silatuhu is actually a part of, is actually a Sifa, which is a part of fragment Mawsuf Sifa. So that's the thing. I'm going to address it later also, inshallah, in a different way, and you will get it. And let's look at this. So attach Aid, for example. So this is the whole unpacking we did. Now look at the next thing. So allazi and who. So as you can see, Ustad Noman is already taken up over here. So the inside file is already Ustad Noman. So we know that the inside file cannot refer to allazi. That's why there has to be something that is referring to allazi. So that is this who. The maf'ul is now referring to allazi. So that is actually your Aid. And they should all match in what? They should all match in number and gender. So in this sentence, it's not allama which is referring to allazi, it's the maf'ul, the one who Ustad Noman taught. He's not the one who's teaching, he was being taught by someone. So the maf'ul is actually the Aid over here. So this is called attached Aid. It's attached to, in this case, it is attached to a field. Now let's see detached Aid. Now this only appears when a Silatul Mawsul is Jumla Ismiya. Only Jumla Ismiya. It does not appear, detached Aid does not appear in Jumla Failiya. When a Silatul Mawsul, sorry, it should be Silatul Mawsul, it should not have al over here. Silatul Mawsul should be al Jumlatul Ismiya, not Jumlatul Failiya. That is when detached Aid appear. So let's look at this sentence now. Let's unpack it. Okay, the translation is, I met the one who studies in the school. So who did you meet? I met the one who studies in the school. So allati is again Ismul Mawsul, al-Ism Mawsul. And here darasatun fil madrasati. So here darasatun al-madrasati, as you can see, is Jumla Ismiya. So it is only, like I said, Silatul Mawsul should only be Jumla Ismiya, only then the detached Aid will appear. And what is the whole thing? The whole thing is actually Maf'ul to Qabaltu. That is, I met the one who studies in the school. Qabaltu, I met. Who did you meet? Allati here darisatun fil madrasati. Now notice that here is mubtada in this. Darasatun is darisatun, sorry, is a khabar. She is a she is sorry, she is a teacher. Sorry, teacher. Yeah, darasa yadrisu. Yeah, teacher in the school. Okay, and this is the mutalik bil khabar. Now, what I'm trying to say is, as you can see, sorry, yeah, as you can see, allati, which is al-ismul mawsul, is feminine and it's one. And here it is this, what is referring to allati. So the aid over here is this, which is detached, which is separated from it, from anything. And it is detached aid to allati, which is al-ismul mawsul. In the PDF, I'm going to also, square this, make a square around it in order to highlight it. But just remember, here is the I, which is going back to allati, because they are same in number and gender. Now, inside I, there's something, the examples that we had done so far in our previous concept, which was al-ismul mawsul wasilatuhu. All those examples were this, in which, as you can see, hunna allati qulna zalika. So, for example, they are the ones who said that. This is the translation. They are the one who said that. So this is your al-ismul mawsul. This over here, so qulna zalika is actually silatul mawsul and it's jumla failure. Now, what is referring to al-ismul mawsul in jumla failure, which is silatul mawsul? Qulna. Because if you see, qulna is also plural and it's feminine. Allati is also plural and feminine. And therefore, it's the inside eye. It's inside the fail and it's the inside eye of allati. So these two are actually, they should always match. So if in jumla failure, they should always match. The fail should always match in number and gender with ismul mawsul. So this is your inside eye. Now, implied eye. Now, this is a bit tricky. There are two cases basically. Case number one, in two types of al-ismul mawsul, aid is implied. Therefore, it can be omitted. There's no, it's not mandatory for anything in al-ismul mawsul, which is a sentence, to refer back to there's nothing, it's not mandatory in a silatul mawsul to have something in it which should refer back to al-ismul mawsul. I'll give you an example. So ma and man, they are the only ismul mawsul. Allazi and family does not come under this case. Implied when allazi and the family is used, there has to be something, and if it's not there, then it's an exception, by the way. In Quran, don't get confused. The grammar rule is, and because Quran digress, because it has diversity and it does digress from those rules. Obviously, it's Allah's book. He has made the rules and he can do whatever he wants. But in language structure, there has to be something in allazi and sister al-ismul mawsul. So there has to be something in silatul mawsul that is referring back to allazi and the sister. But that is not required in ma and man. So this type of ismul mawsul, they can have a sila which does not have anything in it that is referring back to them. So, haza ma qultuhu. And it's, by the way, it's not necessary that it doesn't have. There is an option. Okay, there can be something in it and there is an option of omitting it also. So this is your sentence. This is what he, So this is what I said. This is what I said. Now, if you see ma and if you see who, so qultu means I said. So that cannot refer back to ma, I believe. And what is then left? The maf'ul, is it matching ma? It is matching in, there's another concept, by the way, about ma, but I'm going to address that later. Over here, just simply understand that who is matching with ma in terms of, you can say number and, and gender. Later on, you'll find out that's not really necessary also. But anyway, So let's see if you've written it like this. But so ma is your so this whole thing can be written as ma ahaza ma qultu. This is what I said, and this ayat, which was supposed to be referring back to ma ismul mausul, is omitted over here. These are two options of writing this sentence. It's not necessary to omit it. It's just an option for you. And another case is, so ma and man, in these two cases, you can omit the I. And in case where your sila is the sila of al-ismul mausul is jumla ismiya, you can and you have mubtada and mutalik bil khabar, the khabar is missing. So the rule is in jumla ismiya, when mubtada and mutalik bil khabar is there and the khabar is missing in the silatul mausul, like for example over here, innallati, certainly the one who is from, so hiya min Pakistan, she is from Pakistan. Certainly the one who, she is from Pakistan. Now, as you can see, allati is a normal ismul mausul, it's a regular one. And this silatul mausul is jumla ismiya, this is the condition. And also you can see this jumla ismiya does not have khabar over here. Here, mubtada min Pakistan mutalik bil khabar. This has the option. So allati and here are matching together. This is the ayat here, the detached ayat of allati. Now they have the option of being written like this. Innallati, you just removed this, omitted this here, the ayat for allati, and simply you wrote innallati min Pakistan. So here was removed and your sentence will still make sense. So this is where the ayat is implied. You don't really have to mention it. So that's about all. Thank you for watching this.